Well, good morning, and here we are. It is a brand new baby day. If you're in my Prosperity Plus class at New Dawn Center for Spiritual Living, you know what I'm talking about. Good morning, it's Alan Vukas, and what I wanted to, give me just 1 second. If you are joining us here, so glad that you're able to join us every day, Monday through Friday, for the next, it's, I think, going to be 8.5 weeks now. I am taking some time every morning to contemplate principles around prosperity and also to anchor that in an affirmative prayer. And what I want to do is I want to share this live. I want to share this with some people. So if you are, let's see, I'm sharing it to a page. I'm doing this on my iPad. Multitasking, not always the best thing when I haven't had yet finished my coffee for the morning. So just 1 second. I'm sharing this now, and there we go. So anyway, so it's so good to see you this morning. I'm here also with, let's see, Bodie the boxer. He is sleeping in the background. But each morning, I think this is going to be our 6th Facebook Live around this, but we're taking some time to explore some of the principles that are that Wallace Wattles talks about in his book, The Science of Getting Rich. At New Dawn Center for Spiritual Living, I'm teaching a class and Prosperity Plus, and this is one of the texts or a book that we're using to support us in contemplating principles of prosperity on a daily basis. Because what we're talking about prosperity, everything's created first in mind. It's created twice, but it's first in mind. You know, I'm thinking about even the chair that I'm sitting on right now. There was someone, an engineer, who got inspired with an idea, a thought of a chair, and there was an image that was put together, and then using his skills to be able to put it onto paper and to map it out and to draw it out, design it. What was first created in mind then became manifest in the physical world. And that is how it works with everything. Everything is created first in mind. So what does this have to do with prosperity or the experience of abundance in our life? Well, if what is going on in our mind are thoughts of lack, there's not enough, beliefs and being convinced that there is no way that I can step forward with this opportunity. If I have a belief that there's not enough opportunities, there's not enough time, there's not enough energy, there's not enough money, there's not enough supply, then if that's what is created, if that's the image that I'm holding in mind, then regardless of what I see outside of me, then I'm going to I'm going to find evidence for what I'm looking at. That's our minds work that way. It finds evidence for whatever image or thoughts we're holding in our mind. So we're taking some time every day to contemplate some opposite thoughts, some thoughts that are not rooted and based in scarcity or lack or limitation. It's about prosperity consciousness. So we're taking some time every day to contemplate some of the principles in order to wake us up from this trance of scarcity, the trance that so many people are walking around in, convinced that there's not enough. And what the chapter that I just want to pull a couple thoughts out from this morning before I anchor this in an affirmative prayer with you. But I've been looking at chapter 3, is opportunity monopolized? And in the second part of the chapter, let me just read a couple lines for you, and then I'll unpack it and answer the question, is opportunity monopolized? That's the question. That's the title of the question. The title of the chapter, and it's a question. And I'm just going to read a few lines and give you the answer to that. Is opportunity monopolized? Is it too late for you? Has your ship sailed? Have you missed the train? Well, let's take a look at what Wallace Wattles writes. Now, this was written in 1910. And so some of the wording might be a little different, but I'm your tour guide in this and will help you through this. So here's what he says. He says, there is an abundance of opportunity for the man who will go with the tide instead of trying to swim against it. Now that's right there. That's a totally different thought than what most of us are taught. That if you want to create abundance in your life, then you need to go where other people aren't going. You need to go against the tide. You need to be a disruptor. And that's not necessarily what he says there. And being a disruptor is a good thing, but there's an opportunity, abundance of opportunity for the one who will go with the tide instead of trying to swim against it. As I reflect on that, this morning I was looking out the window, and right next to my driveway there is a big hedge, a bush, and this year there have been all of these little birds. I don't know what they are, finches, chickadees, whatever they are. There's a lot of them. There's an abundance of them that are living now in this bush right next to my car. And they leave me plenty of gifts, letting me know that they are there. But this morning, as I was looking out the window, and I could hear them and I could see them hopping out of the bush and onto the fence and onto the ground, what I became very aware of is they woke up this morning without any idea that, well, since it's the early bird that catches the worm and I'm late, I better not even try. No, these birds then, they are automatically assuming, they are going with the flow of the abundance that is present, so they act on it. So is it possible that maybe the way that we go against the flow is that we question the idea that we're living in an abundant universe? Maybe the going against the flow that we've been doing all this time, or I've been doing, or humanity, what we do, is there's not enough. We walk in this trance. And what we're in fact doing is going against the flow and the truth of the universe. I'm going to read a couple other lines here. No one is kept in poverty by a shortness in the supply of riches. There's more than enough for all. And he talks about this, how there is, and we know this, and there's been people argue about the gap between the haves and the have-nots, and it's spoken about how much the haves have, and they have so much that if you were to redistribute it across everyone, we would all be rich. And that's not, I'm not making an argument or point for redistribution of wealth. The point here is that no one is kept in poverty by a shortness in the supply. There is supply. There's more than enough. We know this. He goes on, the visible supply is practically inexhaustible. There's more money floating around, and this is not just about money, but we're using money as a symbol of supply in our life. But there's more than enough money. There's more money in the world now, in the world economy now, than there has ever been. We're no longer trading with shells or bartering. Well, we may be, but we're no longer at that level of economy. We're no longer, we're getting to the point where we don't even need money. It's all ones and zeros. And it's all done just with intention and commitment and agreements. It's amazing what's happening, but no one's kept in poverty by a shortness in the supply. The visible supply is practically inexhaustible. The invisible supply really is inexhaustible. And then he says, everything you see on earth is made from one original substance out of which all things proceed. There's no limit to the supply of this original substance. Nature is an inexhaustible storehouse of riches, and the supply will never run short. No man therefore is poor because nature is poor or because there's not enough to go around. And this one last sentence I'll read. This is true of man collectively, The race as a whole is always abundantly rich, and if individuals are poor, it's because they do not follow the certain way of doing things which makes the individual man rich. This is why we've been exploring these principles. There is a way of thinking, a way of acting, a way of being that is automatic. If you're just watching this is your first video. We're in chapter 3, and we've already laid some groundwork here that there is a science. There is a science to living an abundant life, to experience an abundance in your life. And if you act in a certain way, and he capitalizes C and the W, if you act in a certain way, if you think in a certain way, then it is automatic to be rich. And so are you up for that? Are you up to having more than enough? And so the question and the answer to the question, is opportunity monopolized? We live in a universe, as he says, that there is this one original substance out of which all things are made, and there's no limit to this. And this substance is found not just in the physical and the material things, but even the space in between that. And this substance becomes that which thought has impressed. And we're going to be talking more about that, especially tomorrow as we go into chapter 4. Chapter 4, 7, and 11 are the essential chapters of this book. So you don't want to miss tomorrow. But the answer is opportunity monopolized. It is if you believe so. It is if that is what you're in agreement with. But those little birds that are sitting outside right on the other side of my car, who wake up every morning, from their perspective, from Bodie the boxer, his perspective, there is more than enough. There's always enough. And so we have to act in that way and be in that way in order to have the experience of it. So what I'd like to do is just anchor this in prayer. These ideas, these simple ideas this morning, there is more than enough. And how am I acting and being? Am I showing up that way, or am I retreating into that I don't have enough, so I'm not even going to try? So let's just join together in prayer this morning to release any ideas that do not serve us in this regard. If you're comfortable, if you're in a place where you can sit and allow your eyes to gently close, I invite you to do so. If you're checking this out while you are maybe at your desk at work, and closing your eyes isn't a good thing, wherever you're at, do whatever's comfortable. But as I speak in the first person, just accept these words as your own. Allow them to be planted in the soil of our hearts and minds, the soil of collective consciousness. And allow them to be true for you this morning. As we join together in consciousness here, what I recognize and know here on this Wednesday morning is that there is truly one power, one presence, one intelligence, one substance that's all around us. It in fact is not just around us. It's not just around me. It is the very stuff that I'm made of, that God stuff. And if God is a word that's you're uncomfortable with, then substitute it for something else. Nature, life, the universe. I am made out of this divine original substance. And it is life itself, that one life, that is motivating me, guiding me, inspiring me. Inspiration. Life itself is breathing me, and not just me, it is breathing you. Each and every person that is watching this, is hearing this. Each and every person that's in my heart and your heart, this is the truth for them as well. And so this word that I speak, it is in fact, it's an impulsion of life, setting the law into motion for us today. And what is set in motion, what I realize here this day, is that there is no lack or limit in the mind of God. And so there's no lack in my mind. There is no lack in your mind. There is no law to support lack. There is unlimited supply. There's unlimited substance. There's unlimited power and presence all around us and in us and moving through you and me today in this very moment. And since that's the truth, what I declare and know is any agreement with the concept of monopoly. The only monopoly that there is God, and everything is contained within that. But any idea that an opportunity, that creativity, that abundance, prosperity, that love, that power, that somehow there's not enough or that it can be kept from you, what I declare and know right now, there's no law to support that, and it is nullified. It is uprooted from our consciousness. And what remains here right now is the realization and the knowing that God is enough, that life is enough, and it is what you are and what I am. And in that, there is all good. There is all abundance. There is all opportunity. And as a child of God, I know that that is our birthright. And so today, we accept that. I claim it and I affirm that that birthright of unlimited abundance shows up in the most wonderful ways for you and for me, right here in this moment and every moment going forward. I'm so grateful for this knowing. I'm so grateful for the truth that I wasn't put here just to figure it out. Just like those little birds, they wake up and they go about their day and trusting life, trusting that what they need is already present, and they just open their hands and they open their little beaks and they allow it to enter in. And that is what is unfolding for you and me today. Our hearts, our minds, our hands are open, and Spirit is guiding us and directing our steps today so that we receive the enough. I'm holding that for you today. This is the truth for you and me. And I look forward to seeing you in tomorrow's video as we begin to step into chapter 4 of the Science of Getting Rich. Chapter 4, you don't want to miss that. We're probably going to spend a few days on that one because, as I mentioned, chapters 4, 7, 11 are really sort of milestone essential chapters. So I'm knowing the best for you today. Look forward to seeing you in the video in Facebook Live tomorrow. I'm knowing all the best for you. Peace and love. Namaste.